They say the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. And that truth, though ancient, remains the foundation of every empire ever built, every fortune ever created, and every destiny ever shaped. Before a man or woman conquers the outer world, they must first conquer the inner one. Before the gold, before the glory, before the applause, there is a silent war waged within the human mind. That is where greatness is born. That is where mediocrity dies. If you master your mind, you master your world. If you fail to, you become a prisoner, not of circumstance, but of your own undisciplined thoughts. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But what he didn't need to write, because every great soul already knew it, is that most people never truly conceive. They imitate, they absorb, they drift, they think in borrowed thoughts, live in second-hand dreams, and call that living. But you were not born to drift. You were born to command. The mind is both the architect and the assassin of destiny. It builds or destroys according to its master's command. The weak man allows his emotions to govern his reason. The strong man commands his emotions to serve his vision. The battlefield is invisible, but the war is real, the war between faith and fear, discipline and doubt, purpose and distraction. Every morning you wake up, that battle begins anew. And most people lose before they even rise from their beds. Why? Because they have not learned the first law of self-mastery. Control your thoughts, or your thoughts will control you. Edison knew it. He failed 1,000 times and called each failure a discovery. Ford knew it. He was laughed at by men who believed the horse would never be replaced. Carnegie, Lincoln, Disney, they all shared one secret. They ruled their inner kingdom before the outer one ever obeyed. The world you see outside you is nothing but the reflection of the world inside you. Your habits, your health, your wealth, your relationships, your success, all of it begins in the mind. Change your thinking, and you rewrite the code of your existence. Yet people will say, "I can't help how I think." That's a lie whispered by laziness. You can help it, you simply haven't trained it. Your mind is a muscle. It grows stronger with repetition and discipline. Feed it junk, doubt, gossip, excuses, and it will rot. Feed it purpose, vision, and faith, and it will illuminate the path to your destiny. You don't rise by accident. You rise by intention. The ones who win in life do not wait for the right mood, the right motivation, or the right morning. They create the conditions within. They decide that no matter what happens outside, the inner state will remain unshaken. Think of a mountain. It doesn't bend to the wind. It doesn't beg the storm to stop. It endures, it holds, it commands respect by its presence. Be like that mountain, because the storm will come, the doubts, the setbacks, the betrayals, the failures. But mastery means this: you no longer react, you respond. You no longer break, you bend with grace and return stronger. And when you do that long enough, something changes. You stop chasing success, and success starts moving toward you. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because your perception has shifted. You see opportunities where others see obstacles. You see growth where others see pain. You see a path where others see walls. That is what it means to master your mind. Discipline is the bridge between the mind and the world. Every dreamer must become a doer, and every doer must become a disciple of their own habits. Because habits build reality. The thoughts you repeat form the actions you take, and the actions you repeat form the world you live in. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You cannot speak defeat and expect victory. You cannot think small and expect greatness. The mind will give you exactly what you instruct it to, no more, no less. So if you constantly feed it reasons why you can't, it will close the doors that lead to why you can. But if you command it with clarity, with certainty, with repetition, the world itself begins to rearrange. That is not mysticism, that is cause and effect. Faith is not belief without proof, it is belief before proof. The unseen comes before the seen. The vision comes before the victory. Every empire, every invention, every masterpiece was once invisible, alive only in the mind of one who refused to let doubt steal the dream. They said to Disney, "It's impossible." He said, "It's already built, you just can't see it yet." They said to Edison, "You've failed." He said, "No, I've found 1,000 ways that don't work." That is mastery, not the absence of struggle, the dominance of spirit. When you begin to master your mind, you stop being a victim of external events. The world no longer dictates how you feel, how you act, or who you become. You begin to live by inner law, not outer chaos. You stop asking for easy, and start demanding excellence. You no longer wish for fewer problems, you become greater than the problems you face. And that is the moment your life begins to shift. Because reality bends to those who will not bend to it. It yields to the disciplined, the patient, the resilient, the focused. Those who understand that the mind, properly directed, can make fortune out of failure, strength out of suffering, and wisdom out of pain. Your world is a mirror. Whatever you are within, it reflects without. If you hold chaos inside, chaos will meet you at every corner. If you hold peace, purpose, and focus, your external world begins to mirror that vibration. And here is the truth most people never hear. You are not chasing success. You are aligning with it. Success has always been there, waiting for the person who becomes worthy of it. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So become the person success cannot ignore. The mind is not mastered by reading about discipline. It is mastered through the daily, silent wars that no one sees. The mornings you rise when your body screams to stay in bed. The nights you work while others are lost in distraction. The moments you push forward without applause, without results, without certainty, only faith. That is where transformation takes root. Because discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. It is telling yourself, I am worth the effort. Most people confuse freedom with ease. They think to be free is to do whatever they feel. But that is not freedom, that is slavery to impulse. True freedom is mastery. The freedom to think clearly when chaos hits. The freedom to act when others freeze. The freedom to build when others break. You earn that freedom only through consistent self-command. And it begins in the smallest of moments, in the instant you choose progress over comfort. Every day, your mind asks you one question. Who's in charge, me or you? Every time you delay your dream, every time you scroll instead of study, every time you make an excuse instead of progress, you tell your mind that it runs the show. And it will, until you take back the throne. Because the mind, like any servant, must be trained. If left unchecked, it will wander into fear, envy, and doubt. But when commanded, it will produce miracles. The greats of history were not superhuman. They were simply masters of focus. They understood that energy flows where attention goes. They didn't waste mental bandwidth on gossip, resentment, or fear. They guarded their focus like a king guards his crown. Edison, in his laboratory, slept on tables and forgot to eat, consumed by vision. Carnegie surrounded himself with minds greater than his own, channeling their genius into one united mission. Hill himself spent 20 years gathering the wisdom of titans, transforming it into timeless laws. They all understood the secret. Control attention,